Now we welcome Colonel Lori Walden, Director of the Tyndall Program Management Office. Colonel Walden has been serving here since June. She oversees the day-to-day operations of the rebuild. She's on temporary duty here until the end of September. In her full-time reserve job, she serves as the commander of the 622nd Civil Engineering Group from Dobbins Air Reserve Base, Georgia, and oversees more than 1,100 airmen. Today, Colonel Walden will be briefing the Tyndall Master Plan. We welcome Colonel Walden to the stage.
Thank you, Don. Good morning, everyone. So the brief that I'm going to give you today, this morning, is just an overview of the master planning efforts that will feed and is feeding into where we're going today and over the next several years. As you're aware, our senior leaders ask us to rebuild at Tyndall, not the base we had, but to the base that we need, as Colonel Laidlaw mentioned earlier, a digitally integrated air base for the 21st century. You may have heard this referred to also as the installation of the future. Tyndall is a unique opportunity to do something different and innovative to align well with the Chief of Staff's vision for Tyndall Air Force Base. What you'll see here is just a very basic overall timeline of where we are going from October of last year when Hurricane Michael hit to that October 1st, 2023, when we're expected to receive that first F-35. You'll see that by the red flag. You'll notice to the left of the today mark, there has been a lot of action and activity going, preparing for how do we get to that point to receive that first F-35. We have condensed a lot of planning and programming efforts from about an 18-month process down to about 8 months. So we have really been sprinting to make sure that we are there ready for that first aircraft. This slide is probably going to be a little bit more detail of what you would like to see today. And the bottom two sections, the FSRM or repair and the MILCON or military construction, those are what we're going to focus on today, going over the things as General Mlanson mentioned earlier. For the FSRM or repair program, this year Tyndall received $288 million for repair projects, and we are on track to award all of those projects by the end of the fiscal year. Some of those projects have been awarded and have already started. For the military construction piece, which is going to be the bulk of the discussion today as well, for FY19 under the disaster recovery funding, Tyndall received $577 million for those efforts. And again, you can see the bulk of the activity is going to happen moving forward with the construction to be ready to receive those first F-35. Air Force leadership established both the process and the planning guidance to ensure we plan to build the Tyndall Air Force Base that we need, not the Tyndall Air Force Base that we had. This slide has the key goals for the rebuild and articulates some of those initial ideas on just what the installation of the future should be here at Tyndall. Please note two key elements reflected on this slide talk about reducing cost. This is really important because the installation of the future is not about building a shiny air base. We absolutely are in a cost-constrained Air Force. The installation of the future is about incorporating modern technologies and techniques to reduce the total cost of ownership to our physical plant. We enlisted the help of one of our industry partners and awarded a planning contract in December 2018 to develop 3 primary planning districts. The contracted effort looked at these 3 planning areas. I'm going to shine on this side. The Flight Line District, which is north of 98, the Support District, located south, and then over to the right, the Crooked Island District, which was located at a very low elevation and experienced a strong storm surge. This is where the research lab was located. The support and flight line districts were the most densely populated and had the most facilities, and subsequently those experienced the largest amount of damage. I'll go into those three districts in a little more detail for you. So this is the flight line district. I want to point out this line that you see at the bottom, that's Highway 98 for reference. One of the themes of the airfield development plan was to relocate functions which did not need direct access to the flight line and move those functions to the support side of the base. The airfield is constrained by Highway 98 to the south that I just pointed out, which limits the development on the north side. Two organizations that we moved from the flight line side to the support center were the civil engineer squadron and the logistics functions. Most of the facilities for those two organizations were damaged or destroyed. We are able to save a couple of those facilities from the logistics to repurpose those. So starting on the left and moving to the right, I'll just highlight some of the mission sets. You'll notice the white facilities, those are existing buildings, and those are buildings that sustained lesser damage, and we'll be able to reuse those in the master plan moving forward. This little group of white facilities to the left, that's the Air Operations Center that you heard Colonel Laidlaw talk about. Moving a little bit farther to the right, this is going to be the F-35 campus. This section in the center, that is the shared support and the transient section. The group of facilities to the right of that is the Weapons Evaluation Group, or the WEG. This next group of facilities is a reserved area for the proposed MQ-9 campus. And then the smaller facilities to the right, those are the MU-2 facilities, which is another enduring mission, as Colonel Laidlaw mentioned. So in summary, the pre-hurricane flight line had 163 facilities, with more than 50 of those facilities being over 50 years old. In the end, we were able to save about 40% of those facilities. 97 buildings will be demolished and replaced with 39 buildings. Moving on south of 98 is the support district. This district differs from the flight line district in that we didn't significantly change either the customer or the mission set, with the exception of the added capabilities of civil engineering and logistics that we moved south off of the flight line side. The damage was also less significant on the support side. There were several larger, newer facilities that had been built to modern construction standards, and they fared much better with minimal damage. Those facilities actually became the backbone of the master plan moving forward. What didn't survive Michael so well was the lodging, which had already been approved for replacement before the hurricane, and the dorms, as Colonel Laidlaw mentioned. Only 3 of 11 will remain, which will present a hardship housing the airmen until we can get those facilities rebuilt. There was an emphasis on consolidating into single facilities as well as combining functions in order to promote compact and walkable campuses. By consolidating functions and some minor realignment of roads, we were able to make room for those relocated flight line functions, as well as provide for anticipated future requirements and preserve open space for any future unknown requirements. If you can see on this map, this little peanut-shaped area, that's the family support area. That will have a lot of expansion capacity, but it will include the temporary lodging facility, the youth center, and 2 daycare centers. The community core, and I'll add to this map, the white facilities are the existing facilities as well. The brown facilities are the new facilities. The community core, which is this section, is anchored on the commissary. The commissary is this large white facility. It includes things such as the new chapel complex, a community commons, a bowling alley, a U.S. post office, library, gathering spaces, and eating options. There's a pedestrian spine that will connect the common areas to this section here, which is the dorm area. It's a little hard to see on this map, but there are 3 existing dorms here, and the rest of these will be the new construction dorms. And that pedestrian spine goes all the way to the industrial complex, where you'll have your civil engineering and logistics. The last area, as I mentioned, is the industrial complex to the right for civil engineer and logistics compounds. There will be a reconfigured main gate, which is located here. And then Florida Department of Transportation will be building an overpass to this gate, which will allow us to provide a path for the airmen who are living on the south side of base to walk or bike to their job location on the flight line, promoting that walkable campus. The Crooked Island District, which is home to the AFCEC research facilities, presented a different challenge and problem set than the other 2 areas, as I mentioned before. The lab was about 6 to 8 feet above sea level and experienced 4 to 6 feet of storm surge and flooding. We're going to move that location, those facilities, just north of 98 to an elevation of about 20 feet above sea level. In the process, we'll consolidate a hodgepodge of about 20 facilities into 4, making those repurposable and flexible for current research needs and future research growth and development. By moving those facilities north of 98, it will also put them closer to the ground demolition range and the airframe testing area. There are a few areas outside of those 3 major planning efforts that I want to cover briefly for you. The Bonita Bay Marina, which is located right at the end of the DuPont Bridge. The MWR facilities and activities that were there will be consolidated and moved to the marina area in the housing section. The the repair efforts focused at the Bonita Bay will focus on those drone recovery operations only. The housing area, which is down in this section, while the rebuild of that area is not being managed by the PMO, all 867 houses there were damaged beyond being able to live in, so they are all damaged. In the ammo district, we'll resite the ammo districts to the north. We'll resite and consolidate a couple of admin-type facilities, allowing for higher storage capacity for the existing storage facilities. For the subscale drone activities, we'll plan military construction project to move the administrative and maintenance functions from 5 existing maintenance buildings away from the flight line to the 8,500 area down in this area, consolidating around 12 facilities down to, like I said, 3 to 5. This is the summary slide for the master planning effort. I skipped past a lot of the robust process that got us to this point, but I believe the result of the planning efforts hit the nail on the head with what General Goldfein identified when he asked us to develop the Tyndall into the installation that we need. We're driving down the total cost of ownership and maximizing cost efficiency by leveraging the facilities we could save and incorporating them into the new master plan. We kept the constricted real estate on the flight line side to those flight line functions, and we moved support functions to the support side of the base. We also incorporated that modern campus planning and the way people use different facilities with the campus layout. This concludes my brief on the master plan. I want to thank everyone for taking time out of your busy day to be here, and I look forward to the discussion as we get into the more detailed panel discussions later. Thank you.